Okay, guys, we're going to go into what I consider non-book spoilers, but it is going to talk a bit about how the book and the show contrast. So first and foremost, hey, there's a reveal that we've talked about in real spoiler sections where you find out something on page 40 of this book, and the show really hasn't spelled it out yet. You find it out on page 40. Here we've had 6 episodes, they haven't spelled it out. But instead, this episode 6 of season 1 drops a big clue towards reveals that come from the second book in the series. And it's like, wait, what? You're revealing this? That's something that you don't find out about until the second book. And here it is in this episode. It blew my mind. Now, again, I kind of rated the episode 9 out of 10. But at the same time, it was like, huh? What? What? Before we move to spoiler, we'll go through some quick feedback. We got feedback from Joshua, who says that the way the show is doing it compared to the books, he thinks it's better because he believes that giving viewers hope is always important, where maybe the book was more bleak and you didn't have hope. So we're going to have to say goodbye to everybody who doesn't want full spoilers now. We apologize. We're saying goodbye to you. If you don't want spoilers, you've got to leave. Be sure to follow us at PHQ. We're going to, all these people complaining we haven't been specific in our spoilers. We're going to have some specific spoilers. Okay, you're out. The specific spoilers are coming in 3, 2, 1, bam. So Paul Billings is a change from the book. You ready? I've mentioned that the book is written from third-person limited perspective, meaning we're following this person, kind of what they know is what is written in the text. Right. It's not written from their first person, but their third person. Paul Billings, or as he's from the books, Peter Billings, he's never the person that we're following. He's never the focus of the third person limited perspective. So therefore, Billings is one of these characters in the book. You're always wondering, well, is he a bad guy? Is he that doesn't seem too evil. Is he bad? Is he good? Is he bad? Is he good? And so he's one of the characters you go the whole time through thinking, oh my God, is this guy bad or good? And it's not until the very end of this first novel where you realize, oh, wait a minute. Billings isn't a stooge. He's just, he is his own man. He's not going to just do what Judicial or anybody else tells him to do. And it's one of the things I love from the book of this. You always wondered, what's up with Paul Billings? What's up with Paul Billings? The end of the book, you find out, oh, he's not just a patsy. He's not just somebody who says, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you want. Evil person. And so I loved that as a twist in the book, because once again, you never really know, and it's written very ambiguous. Here, I think the show is giving it away, don't you? That Billings is not a bad guy.
I mean, once you see him dealing with his kids, I mean, you saw Sims dealing with his kids, and so that gave him a bit of humanity, but everything that he has done has made him seem like he's trying to play things straight up, which only makes the way Juliette is treating him as it just makes Juliette more despicable.
Yeah, it made this episode really tough for me until some of those fireworks at the end. And so now, listeners, if you haven't listened to our spoilers before, this is a big one. Once again, it's not just Billings. It's like, this is what the outside world is like. So you can stop listening. You can hang up in 3, 2, 1. We talked about it in previous spoiler sections, Catfish.
But not enough.
The outside world is toxic. You go outside the silo and try to breathe the air, you're going to die. The world is destroyed. We had this as a judicial debate once. Now let's have it in full spoiler mode. They've got to keep people in the silo. They've got to keep them safe. They can't let anybody open the door to the outside. They can't have their terrorists. They can't have this person, their conspiracy person. And you think, well, why not just tell people, hey, the outside world is toxic. If you go out, you're going to die. People don't believe stuff. People don't believe stuff now. People in our current world believe the earth is flat. One person gets the wrong idea and thinks, no, it's fine outside, and let's in that toxic air, everybody's going to die. Similarly, so you're like, okay, we're not only going to tell them that the air outside is toxic, we're going to show them that we send people outside. You're going to see them die on this camera. You're going to have visual proof that if you go outside, you die. Is that enough? Is that enough? Or do you still have to be Big Brother and follow everybody? Are the bad guys in the end doing the right thing to keep humanity safe? What do you think?
I still have the same answer I had in the body of the podcast, and that is
Okay.
that there certainly is justification for it. But once you get that kind of power over people, that leads to you going over the line.
That's the perfect way to say it. These people have gone over the line. They're so fearful about, humanity's end and these crazy pact rules that people don't get to know. Like, what do you really think happened in the 140 years ago when there were the rebels? What do you really think happened?
That's what I was going to ask you now, not having remembered. Up to this point in the book, or even let's just say in the whole book, because anybody who's read
Sure.
the book, you're watching the show and thinking about things that are going to come up.
Right.
In the book, how much do the people in charge actually know about the quote unquote rebellion, and what was the actual rebellion? It's called a rebellion now, but what was the actual thing that happened?
The way I would describe it is that the people who know the complete truth in the silo, we're talking single digits. It's a bit like, boy, now we always spoil Game of Thrones things, or now House of the Dragon things. Guys, this comes up in the first episodes of House of the Dragon, so we apologize. It's not that big a spoiler. So this one character in House of the Dragon, he's like, listen, I'm going to tell you a secret of a vision, and you have to know. And that's why you have to be prepared because of this thing that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, you always joked on House of the Dragon. Well, why would you only tell one person? What if that person suddenly gets hit by a bus? Like if you need people to know, you got to let people know. But no, the true knowledge, I think in Silo, you would describe as probably one person, maybe two, maybe. But I think enough of the powerful people know that what the rebels really were is they realized they'd been lied to their whole time. You've been spying on us. You won't let us have relics. You're kind of doing things. You're making people clean the camera by tricking them into cleaning the camera by showing them a green grass and blue field so that we continue to see people who we consider our friends go outside and die. And so that's really what the rebellion was about, right? They're like, you're not telling us the truth, even though they were telling them the truth. Hey, you go outside, you're going to die. And so the rebellion rose up and said, to hell with your overseeing of us. And they didn't destroy the history. They broke the rebellion. The bad guys, the people in charge, the big brother, if you will, broke the rebellion.
Right.
And then blamed the rebels for, they erased the history because once they learned the history, they rebelled and tried to get us. And so.
Now, one question here I'll ask you, and based on this, and maybe it's unanswerable, it's just in the book, and obviously it's necessary, but why do they not, when they find the relics, that it's going to lead to questions? Why are they cataloging? Why aren't they just taking them all, destroying them? They know where they are. They know who have them. Go in, destroy them. There's no connection to the past then.
Catfish, you're not going to like this answer.
Mm-hmm.
The relics, while they are in the book, they're not a focus like this. And so there isn't going to be a straight answer of, okay, the reason why we don't destroy relics is because of A, B, and C. The books, it's like salt on the French fry. It's not the French fry. And so the book doesn't get into that fact. And so I would say that, I guess if you're really studying the world, why not just destroy them? Why not?
I mean, that makes complete sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't answer it. Can you answer it? Sorry, I don't have a book answer for you in this instance.
I can't answer it either. And it makes it, I wonder if they're going to come up with a good answer on the show, because it really does seem like that just leads to more trouble. Why catalog them?
Well, I guess the one thing that is true in the books that maybe they haven't stated specifically in the show is you don't want anybody thinking about the pre-Earth destruction, the pre-Earth toxicity, because what's that going to do? That's going to make them think, they're going to think about all we've lost, all the terribleness. I'm living this miserable existence underground. And that might cause them to rebel again and say, to hell with it. I just send me outside. It might be a mass group of say, we don't deserve to live. And so there is that kind of talk in the book, but there's nothing specific like that.
Right. I'm just saying the relics would lead people to think more about the past. And so at least the way we've set them up here, I mean, it could be just a very small group of people interested in the relics. But to be honest, on the show, we are exposed to a very small group of people. I mean,
Oh,
when
yeah.
when I asked the question, have we met him or not? Because if you say, do you know who it is? There really are only four people that it could be. There's
That
only
it would logically be, yeah.
four dudes. Yeah, right. It's not going to be Kennedy. It's not going to be Shaky Bob.
How dare you?
So let's get into it. I don't want to hear any more of this. We're not spoiling anything. Let's spoil it all. So based on the book,
Mm-hmm.
do you know who him is? And is there another group, let's call them janitorial, that is another power center here? Or are the people watching just a part of Judicial?
Listeners, really drop out if you don't want to know, because I think the show is trying to make this a huge reveal. When the mayor dies at the end of the second short story, as she's dying, she's thinking, oh, my canteen. He refilled my canteen for me. Who's she thinking about? Bernard. Bernard killed her in the book. Because that happens, maybe page 110, maybe, relatively, in the first third of the book, you realize quite quickly he's the big bad. Bernard is the big bad. So the trick about it is IT is who you fear. You don't fear Judicial. You fear IT because IT has all this information about you.
Right.
And so because the show is twisting it to make Judicial as powerful as they are in the show, I would assume that the Night Man will still be Bernard, but 100% sure no. And then let me say there are kind of more complications that come up in book 2. And I wouldn't think that the Night Man could be from book 2 or, hey, wake him up, as being a character that we meet in book 2. But because they introduce Georgia as a thing in episode 6, where you don't learn that until the beginning of book 2, that, hey, you need to focus on Georgia. That has me wondering if theoretically, there's a chance that Go Wake Him Up is a character in the second book.
There's nothing inherently wrong with doing
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And to be honest, I would like it if it was someone different because we still need more people in this world. Am I right? Or is it, once again, it's funny, I keep asking you questions and your responses are, well, this is not that important in the book, which is interesting. As far as the Watchers, are they under Bernard, IT?
It's all IT, yeah.
Okay. You always got to worry those guys. It's just like I was saying now. It's everything on your phone. They're tracking you.
Well, okay, Catfish.
Yeah.
This is the spoiler section, and a lot of these spoiler sections, which you're a part of, and I don't want to spoil you too much. I'm always talking about, well, that's very important for the next cleaning. The next person who goes out to clean, you need to know these things because of who it is. So you can't remember who is the next character who's going to be sent out for a cleaning.
Wow, the next character be sent out for a cleaning. It would be, holy cow, sent out for. Let me talk about why it would be good for each person that it could be.
Okay,
it'd be good if it was Juliette because I hate Juliette, but I don't feel like they're not going to. They've already changed the lead character. She's the third lead character, so I don't think they're going to want to switch to anybody else.
Okay.
It would be sad for me if it was Sims because he's a cool character. It wouldn't be bad if it was the head of Judicial because she's already sick and we haven't seen her too much and she's not as powerful as I thought she was going to be here. It can't be Bernard. It can't be Bernard.
Okay.
It could be Marnes. Not Marnes. Sorry. I'm misthinking of her name. Her downtown friend.
Walker.
Juliette's downtown friend, Walker. Man, that is tough. It can't be. I'm gonna say, oh man. Yeah, the only person I feel like we could lose at this point, again, besides Juliette, which would be good, would really be the person who's in charge of Judicial, because
Judge.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listeners, if you haven't read this book and you're listening to the spoiler section,
you've already warned them off 3 times.
You've already warned them off. Who do you think is the next character, according to the book, who's going out for a cleaning? I will say that
this character is going to go out in book in episode 9, or it's going to be the end of the season, episode 10?
I'm going to assume you'll know who it is in 9, and them going out for the cleaning will be episode 10.
All right, who is it?
You'll have to find out. I'm not spoiling you, Catfish. I'm not spoiling you. I'm going to say goodbye to you. I'm going to say goodbye to Catfish, and then I'm going to spoil the living hell out of this book to make it up for all of you YouTube listeners who hate that I don't spoil it.
All right, you're going to have to really accentuate that you are actually spoiling things this time. You've responded to the people.
Perfect.
All right, Bubba. We'll talk next week on The Cleaning.
All right, let's get to it. Catfish is gone. You guys wanted spoilers. You're screaming we haven't been talking spoilers. All right, so let's just get through it. If you've listened to any of our spoiler stuff, you know how this works. You open the book. It's a limited third-person perspective from Holston. His wife has gone out to clean. She had sounded crazy, but she had said, no, they can change what we see. They can change what we see. That's all he knows. There's none of this history with George. She goes out, she dies. He struggles for 3 more years, and then he decides, okay, I love my wife. I can't do this anymore. I'm going out. He goes out to clean. He steps outside the silo in the suit. He sees everything looks beautiful, cleans the camera. He's walking around, but he doesn't feel good, coughing. He takes off the helmet and then realizes, oh, the thing in the helmet was fake. It was showing him fake things. It was augmented reality. What the real reality was, a toxic wasteland. He breathes in, he dies, he falls at the feet of Allison, who is also dead. Next thing you know, Mayor Johns and Deputy Marnes go down to see if Juliette should be sheriff. Because they're not doing what IT Bernard wants, he poisons them. Now, there is this mix about, was he trying to poison Marnes? And the mayor was drinking out of Marnes' canteen. There is this kind of back and forth, but okay, that's it. Next thing that happens is Marnes' suicide. A lot of book readers tend to read it as suicide. I think there are enough subtle clues throughout the entire novel that Marnes didn't commit suicide. He was murdered. Again, Bernard poisoned the canteen. He's obviously behind this murder. Bernard is the big bad. He's always the big bad. People on Reddit yell at me, well, no, it's lame. You know, Bernard's the villain from the beginning. And I think to myself, well, you knew Darth Vader was the villain from the beginning. You knew in Game of Thrones that the Lannisters were the bad guys at the beginning. There's a lot of positives of knowing who the bad guy is at the beginning. Juliette didn't, but the reader did. And once again, I think there was a lot of positives to that. What happens now? As I've mentioned before, Juliette's relationship with Lucas has got to grow. The show may have done so many things wrong, but hopefully they're doing a great job constantly referring to the heat tape. If you've read the book, you know that one of the things that IT and Bernard and people in charge want to have happen is you go outside, you will die, but they really, really don't want you to go far. And so the suits they put people in are not made to last, and the heat tape is meant to fall apart. The suits meant to fall apart, let the evil toxic air in and kill people so they don't go too far. They don't want them to go too far because what they may see if they go too far. Catfish completely can't remember it. He drives me crazy. He's like, why'd you read the book right before the show? You're just upset because it's not the book. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, I'm not senile. I remember the book. I remember the twist from several years ago. I remember that, yes, it's a fake screen, and you learned that very early on. I also remember that the next person to go out for a cleaning is Juliette. And of course, as a reader, you're tense. You know the fake. You know the problem. You know she's being sent out to die by Bernard and the evil villains. And so can the show build to this? Can the show fix the problems where a lot of non-book readers think, oh, no, it's perfect outside. They're making him think that it's toxic. It's perfect outside. Or some non-book readers think, oh, it's the suit they're put in. The suit kills them. And when they go outside, if they weren't wearing the suit, no, that's not it. Obviously, we've read the book. We know that with a suit, without a suit, you're going to die. Now, a better lasting suit, maybe you could last a bit longer, right? Then the final thing is, how far are we going to go? The new rebels, the new riot, happens because of Juliette's cleaning. But I wonder if they almost have to have the riot happen earlier. So, because if the season ends like it's going to end, unlike the book doesn't end at Juliette's cleaning, but the season's going to end at Juliette's cleaning. So, because the riot happens after Juliette's cleaning, do they have to maybe say, once Juliette is sentenced to clean, is that what's going to start the riot and they get it going sooner? Also, the reveal in the book that Paul Billings is a good guy, the show has kind of already given it up, but the way you learn that Paul Billings is a good guy by who he forces to go out and clean at the very end of the first book. And so how will they be able to turn this around and make it happen? It'll be interesting. I'm excited. Are you guys excited that they suddenly introduced Georgia here in season 1, where you don't learn that at all until the beginning of the next book? It makes me wonder also, of course, Lucas's role in all of this. How are they going to bring Lucas and Bernard together as they need to if they're going to try to be close to this book? And at times, last 2 episodes really haven't had anything directly from the book. Guys, write me, let's talk. We got 4 episodes left. On Reddit, Hugh Howey told me they stick the landing. Let's see it. Hey, we need subscriptions. We're doing this for you guys. We need subscriptions. If you're on audio podcasts, please subscribe. Please subscribe to all our podcasts. We have various feeds, so you have to subscribe in multiple places, but please do. On YouTube, it's just one place. We need your subscription. All right, we'll talk to you next week.